Hey everyone, it's Steve from the garden. In this video, I'm going to be going over my potato harvest results and give a few other updates leading into the next season. You can see I have all my root pouches kind of stacked up. They're all harvested now. Now in an earlier video, I did go through and harvest one root pouch early, and I did film that one. So the process for doing the rest would be the same. And for my Superior and Kennebec harvest, I ended up with about 70 pounds total. Now, they're kind of intermixed, so I don't really have a ratio of like how much is Superior versus the Kennebec. And they're very closely related in terms of the varieties. And then my second variety I did this year was called Serpo Mira. Now that's not very common here in the United States. It's more common in the UK and maybe Europe. And for that, I ended up a total of 25 pounds. Since that variety is new to me this year, I know exactly how much I started with, and that was 2.5 pounds of seed potatoes, which gives me a nice 10-to-1 ratio of seed potato to the harvest. Which brings up something I want to do for next year, is that before I actually plant the potatoes in the root pouches, I am going to measure them out next year to see the exact weight I start with and be able to compare it to how much I end up harvesting to get the exact ratio. For storing the potatoes, I store them in 27-gallon HDX totes, and I put a nice thick layer of sand on the bottom. The sand just helps regulate the moisture and the temperature within each tote to help out with the overall storage. Now here is the Kennebec and Superior potatoes. You can see the bin is pretty full. And this bin here is the Serpo Mira. Because I had less overall, the bin's not as full. Now, I did have a chance to use the Serpo Mira for cooking, and I just used them in like a mashed potato, and they produced a very fluffy mashed potato, so that was nice. But now let's go on to some of the other garden stuff I want to show you. This is the bed that had the garlic and onions in it. I did a cover crop of buckwheat. Now this needs a couple more weeks and it'll start to flower and look like this bed. This is the bed that had the first round of the first and second round of sweet corn in it, and you can see the buckwheat's now grown and it's starting to flower. And this helps bring in the pollinators, so they have something to eat during the late summer, early fall here. Now I'm going to let this bed go for another week, which means next weekend I'll come through and terminate it using a hedge trimmer, and then I'll tarp it to start breaking down the vegetation. This is the bed where I'm going to plant my garlic this fall and my onions for next year. So that'll take care of this bed. My second corn bed, which had my third, fourth, and fifth round of sweet corn, I've completed the harvest on this, so now I need to come through, cut the corn stalks out, pull out any weeds, and then I'll do one more cover crop in here. Now in a previous video, I also showed how there was a difference in the growth between this bed where the buckwheat's at now and where this bed is now with the corn. And that this bed here on your left didn't have any fall amendments or cover crop last year, where this bed did. And I had a much better growth on the amended bed with the cover crop versus the one that didn't have anything done. Now there's still plenty of time in my season where I can get another round of buckwheat into this bed, because it really only takes like 30 days to go from like seed to termination. And I have that much time left in my growing season that I can get that in. And I'll do the same process with this bed in terms of termination, where I cut it down with the hedge trimmer and then tarp it. For my garlic and onion bed for this year, I did mention in that video during the harvest that I was going to rebuild this bed, so that's obviously done now. So I went with a 2x8 lumber on this, using mending plates, and I made some wooden stakes to drive in to hold the edge of the bed. And you can see here, this is during the construction phase where I had like corner brackets in here and then mending plates also on the inside of the bed, in addition to driving screws into the end of the bed. Since I was rebuilding the bed, I decided to add a little bit more space between these two beds here. So I moved all the dirt on this side into the center to make it a little bit wider. So I have a nice full 2 feet between the two beds to make a nicer walking path. And I made the bed a little bit wider. So like this board is 40 inches, which means there's 37 inches inside versus the 34 inches I had previously. Now this is my newest addition. This is a 4x8 by 32 inch tall Vego Garden bed. So this will be my second, raised metal bed like this. I really do like the height of these, just because anything that grows that, only gets so tall, you don't really have to bend over to do any work in the bed or to do the harvest. In this spot before, I had my containers there I was growing my watermelons. So there is like woven ground cover on the bottom here. And I'm gonna go ahead and just leave that in place so that the tree roots from like the peach trees or the apple tree doesn't grow up into this bed from the bottom. Over the course of the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna go ahead and put bits of wood. I get plenty of like brush and other stuff in my yard. So I'll fill this with wood, horse manure, and any other little garden waste stuff I'll just pile in here to fill this bed up as cheaply as possible. Since this will sell and start to compost, the material level will drop and I'll have to add some more in, and then we'll probably be into like the fall leaf collection about that time. So I'll get some leaves and other stuff going back into here. And then next spring is when I'll actually top it off with the soil after any other material level raising stuff I need to do at that time, so I can grow in it next year. Now I mentioned that this is a Vego Garden bed. I'm not affiliated. I don't have any discount codes or don't get any kind of kickback for them. It's just, I'm just using the product. They had a sale going on these beds where I got this bed with this color for like $215, which is much cheaper than what they normally sell it for. So I jumped on that. And I noticed like some of the other colors they had, like the dark green or the lighter green that they have, they wanted another, I don't know, $45 or $50 for that color. I'm fine with this color. It's in the garden. It doesn't matter to me what color it is necessarily. I'd rather use that extra money for something else. And if you have any questions about anything I covered in this video today, go ahead and leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer them. And until next time, I hope you enjoyed, got something out of this, and we'll see you on the next one.